Good morning, champions. Coach Tina here. I am so excited for us to start our April Masterclass on day 2. Who else is ready to go and excited about Thursday, the 4th of April? Let's get started. We are going to take a look at the PowerPoint and got to find my screen. All right, you guys, here we go. Take off the banner and we are ready to rock and roll. Don't forget to put live or replay if you are watching later. And if you're watching right now, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'm glad you're here. And I am ready to rock us on day 2 of our How to Grow in Your Field. This is a 3-day masterclass, but if you're just joining us today, it's okay. You can always go back and watch the replays. And if you only catch today, you'll still get some good stuff. But hopefully you'll join us tomorrow as well. And you'll come in and do the Saturday workshop because that is where the magic happens. This is a picture of me in my field. One of the things I used to say, and I still think it's a great campaign, is, are you outstanding in your field? And since our whole focus is about business and our jobs and our passion, it fits exactly with what it is we're talking about. In fact, our agenda for the 3 days, yesterday we covered our seeds of greatness and how we go about getting those planted. And then today we're talking about you are good soil. Anybody notice my shirt? There's an organization I'm a part of. It's called 100X. And one of the things they had us do, which is so powerful, I highly recommend it, is to say, I am good soil as an affirmation over and over and over again until you get it into your system that you are good soil. And what is good soil? Good soil is fertile and rich and ready to grow. And you are good soil. And what that exercise does is it changes your perspective on what's possible inside yourself. And it makes you cry. I don't know. Do it until you cry, because that's when, I don't know, when you add water, right? That's what makes it magical. This is our Nourish and Nurture section, and I'm excited. The objective for today, though, is just to get clarity. Clarity on the type of job, business, or passion that you want to be in, clarity on what problems you solve, who you help or serve, and why you do what you do. So I'm excited to share that with you. And go grab your pen and paper and make sure that you are ready to take some notes and journal some things, because I think you're going to find that it is really good information. Feed and letting me know that what's going on in your world and what you think about your field, because yesterday when we talked about our field, what career are you in, or the business that you run, or businesses if you're like me and consider yourself multi-passionate, or what are you passionate about? Like maybe you're past your career or business years, or you're just starting to dabble in it, but you're passionate. You have a movement inside of you. You have a desire to do something in the world. And whatever that is for you, I'm excited to find out about it. But what we want to do is to define our boundaries, right? We'll talk about that in a little bit for sure. And then we talked about the seeds of greatness and how we can look at our talents and our desires and our skills and really assess who we are, what we have, like the components of our soil, right? The nutrients that are in there. And we really look at it and we say, okay, so what do I have? What's in my hand? What can I do with what I have? And we pinpoint, we make that, or we find the sweet spot where all of that comes together. And that's where we can focus and have the most, I want to say impact, but also the most benefit. And that's where the money, the growth will start to um, capitalize, will start to manifest the money that goes along with what you're doing. All right. So I have a question for you, and go ahead and put it in the comments. It's different than yesterday's question, though. Yesterday, we asked, what business are you in? What is that passion? What is that career field that you've dedicated yourself to? But Tony Robbins likes to dig a little deeper. And he says, what business are you really in? So let's say you're a health coach. And the question would be, someone asks you what business you're in. Yeah, you're a health coach. But when you really dig into what business you're supporting people's needs. You're rescuing people from a life of immobility, early death, just poor self-confidence. So the business you're really in, it may not have that label that you find on the IRS form for your business, right? But in your heart that the business that you're really in is about helping people. It's about lighting people up, empowering people to go out and do what they need to do in the world. I've told you guys that when I started this whole project and thought about life, I from a little girl, I wanted to save the world. I wanted to change the world. And then in my 50s, I was like, how in the world is that ever going to happen? Like, it's not, I'm just one person. I can't make the kind of difference I thought I would make as a child. But yet, I had this epiphany where I was like, well, what if I just change the world for one person? And that one person takes that energy and that motivation and that inspiration, and they change the world for their people in their world. And so on and so on and so on. And that gave me the motivation to do it for the one. And if you're the one today, congratulations. I'm so excited for you. And I want this to be this growth that you never thought possible. But I want to be that champion for you and what is possible in your life. But it all starts with things like this, digging deep, getting clear on, okay, I do this, but why do I do it? What's that about? All right. So thank you for your comments out here. All right. And let's keep going. What business are you really in? Because when we talk about growth, we need to think about all the aspects of growth. Yesterday, I talked about our field, this metaphorical field of defining your boundaries and saying, this is who I am, and this is the ground that I stand on. This is what's important to me. And so once you've established your boundaries, and I actually do this in a drawing shape, I will draw a square and I will write down, like my values, and then just kind of talk about, what am I doing in my life? And does it fit inside the box? Or is it outside of that? And while it's still important or still a part of it, it's not necessarily what I'm trying to grow in my garden or my field. And so when you have that list, that identity of who you are, then it starts to make sense. And then you start to ask yourself, what can grow with what I have in this place that I have identified as mine? What can I do with it? The what's in your hand is a Bible verse. When Elijah came to the widow who was about to die because she didn't have anything left, and she was lamenting about her life, and he said, what do you have? What's in your hand? And she told him, she said, I have a little bit of flour and some oil. And he said, go out and borrow as many containers as you can. And so she did. And she went out and got it. And he made a miracle where the oil kept pouring out of these vases, things that she had collected, which is interesting, right? She was only limited by how much she collected, what she thought what she was doing. So that's a lesson, a whole different lesson that we can work on. But she was realistic about what she had, even though it felt like it was so little. And then the miracle happened. And what we're doing is we're gathering what we can, taking what we have access to, and making that, like, putting it out almost like an offering and saying, what can you do with this? You know, the 5 loaves and fishes, a couple of fishes became enough to feed 5,000. So we don't have to do the really hard, heavy work. We just have to put out what we have. The other thing that we need to recognize is what season or what cycle we're in. Okay, so winter, spring, summer, or fall. When you try to grow your seeds in the winter, what happens? Like, it's rough, right? Like, you maybe have to pull them inside and put a greenhouse and a special lamp, and you gotta do different than what happens when they're out in the wild growing. It requires a special season. The ground can't be too hard. It has to be watered. There has to be components that work for it. And in our seed analogy, certain seeds don't grow in certain seasons. You plant them in a certain time, you reap them in a certain time. And so if you're not in that season, you just need to be preparing the soil. You need to be nurturing it. And the other part is that cycle. Like, sometimes we're just not in that place where we're going to be able to grow. Tony Robbins talks about the life cycle of businesses. And he says, a lot of us have like little baby infants, and baby infants take a lot of attention, and they're fragile. We can mess up really bad with them. And that's when we first start a business, like, it's all focus and attention on that baby. Then it becomes a toddler. Does it get easier? No, it gets more complex. There's there's moving parts, there's stuff that goes on. And then even as a elementary school, like, they're just figuring things out. They don't know how to read or write yet, right? And then you go into middle school, high school, teenage years. If you think of your business in that cycle, what about when it's all the way grown up? What about when it's really getting old and it starts to, it's declining? So when you look at those cycles of your business, are you honoring where it is in the life cycle? And can you do anything with it to change it? How can you promote growth? Like, with a young girl, let's say, they need to be talked nicely to. They need to be told how beautiful they are. They need to have their strengths pointed out. And so, are you doing that in your business? Are you taking it where it is and understanding what needs to come next? All right. Hopefully that gives you some good insights into what's possible for you in the growth of your business. Because, like I said earlier, you are good soil. I didn't want to forget to put that out there. That's why I'm wearing the shirt, because I truly believe this. And, what do good gardeners do? They go out and they prepare the soil, because just as much happens above ground as below ground. And so we want to make sure that the things that are growing, that the root system isn't rotting, isn't diseased, isn't compromised in some way. So we do that by preparing the soil. Like, if you define your boundaries and you're looking at your field, and your field is like full of rocks, before you can plant anything in it, you got to take some time to get in there and pull those rocks out. You got to get a hoe and beat at the ground. You got to do a lot of excess stuff, right? So I hope that makes sense to you as you look at your work that you do, and you think about, like, if you're a gardener and you're in your garden and you've tilled the soil and it's that rich, dark, it's got enough water, but not too muddy, that whole thing. And you can dig in and you can just like feel it in your hands. It's got that coolness. You want that environment for your business. When you can declare that you are good soil and you have good soil, you have the systems in place to make what you're working on grow, you will start to see what you're wanting, that thing that you're craving, the fruit of your work will appear. All right. It starts with a lot of clarity, though. And so we already defined our business and the business that we're really in. And now you need some clarity around the problem that you solve. Okay. People don't buy products, people buy solutions. You don't go to the store and, well, sometimes we go to the store, right? And we're marketed stuff that we didn't need. But most of the time, we have a problem. We need food from the grocery store, right? So we go to the store. We need a new pair of shoes. We go to the shoe store. So they are solving problems for us. You solve a problem for your current or future customer. And it's taken me a lot of years to get that when we can define the problem that we solve, that is going to be what elevates your business. So spend some time on this. Later, if you're watching the replay, you'll want to put in a pause on this one and just really write out. And maybe you solve 10 problems. And so get a list of what it is that you do, what problem you solve. And the next thing is, who do you help? Who do you solve that problem for? Now, you might solve a lot of problems, but each one has kind of a avatar or a pattern of who you help. Young moms, women whose kids have gone off to college, young marriages, older marriages. When you can define that, that will help you in your marketing. And the people who have the problem will see in your information that you are talking directly to them, and they will be like, okay, I get it. And then get really clear on the why you do what you want to do, right? Your business, your passion, even your career. If you don't have a real strong why, you're not going to be motivated. You're not going to want to do it. You're going to be frustrated, unfulfilled, not satisfied. And so when you dig, Dean Graziosi does the 7 levels of why. Ask yourself, why do you do what you do? And then when you get an answer, why is that the answer? Why is that the answer? And you just keep asking yourself until you peel the layers of the onion to really get at your why of why you do your business. When you have crystal clear clarity on that, I love that imagery, because when you're digging in that field, we have some diamond mining areas in areas near us. So I'm in Oklahoma, and in Arkansas, you can go and dig for diamonds. And they're these beautiful rocks. And I think somebody found like a 20,000 carat diamond not too long ago. But you got to dig it up. You got to be the right place at the right time. And it takes work. Okay. Very much like what we're talking about. But why? Why is it important? Okay, so some of you know that we do the Fingo board in our community. And Fingo is like bingo, but it has a purpose. That when you cross off the items on the line and get your Fingo, you are actually achieving a set of goals. You have a path to an outcome. And so we talked about how just being in the masterclass can get you this month, and doing the things that we're talking about, setting your goals and so on, will get you some lines on the board. Being a VIP will as well. And we revealed yesterday line 3, where we talked about how to put your goals and get them where you need them. But today we're taking the information that we've talked about, and we are focused on our clear direction, our clarity. So that comes when we can define what it is we do. What is our field? Whether it's with your boundary markers on a piece of paper, or you being able to clearly explain to somebody what it is you do, then knowing what business you're really in, right? So your skills, your talents, all the things that you bring to the table, what's in your hand. and then what problem you solve. When you can explain that, when you can clearly let people know what you do, the right people, then you will be able to grow your business. Lastly, we want to create a list of who you help. So this is a list of avatars or people, and I'll do a little video this week on that specific thing so that you'll be able to cross that off. That's what I tend to do, is I'll do a post on each of these things, and then they're just little short 2 or 3 minute videos, and then you'll be able to knock your bingo off. And then your last thing is keep your why, the thing we just talked about, posted. Put it up on your bathroom mirror. Put it next to your coffee pot. Do it on a Post-it note if you need to or whatever. I used to keep an index card in my car with my goals, so I would see it when I was driving places. In your notebook, you could write it down every day. The more focused you are on what your goals are and why it's important to you, you will start to see results quickly. You will grow your business. Let me check really quick. All right. Perfect. Claudia, thank you. You are good soil, my friend. You definitely are good soil. Thank you for commenting. All right, let's keep going. We just have a few more things to share. Homework tonight. So we've talked about all these things. Hopefully you've been journaling. And what I'm asking you to do is to share about your field, your business, your passion, your career even, what it is that you do most in a day on social media. Take some aspect of it, the business you're in, the business you're really in, the people you help, the problem you solve, why you do it, one of those things, and share that on a post in your social media. And then share that into our group. And when you see other people's shares coming in, please comment on theirs to get them some momentum and for applauding them for the vulnerability of stepping out and doing something. It can be just a regular post. It can be a picture. It can be a video. If you only feel comfortable doing it in the community, that's fine as well. But the point is, take action on what we have learned today. Do something with this information that sparks an activity. You know, the seed, as it germinates, there's a moment in time where it's a dormant seed. You nurture it, you nourish it, and then boom, there is a breakthrough. And that little root, the little sprout comes out of it, and the magic begins. So I want you guys to have that in your repertoire, right? So if you are getting this information and it is making sense to you and you are excited about growing your business, please come and join us on our Zoom this evening at 7:30 p.m. Central. That is just time for us to have questions and answers over the material we've covered today. So if you're catching the replay and that's a better time zone for you, please you're welcome to come. Put #VIP in the comments. We'll make sure we get you that link. And then tomorrow we'll be talking about how do we gather the harvest of what it is we are growing. And then all of you are welcome to the weekend workshop on Saturday. I do that at 10 a.m. Central, which is my time zone, 11 a.m. Eastern, and 8 a.m. on the Pacific Coast. Weekend workshop is when we take the material from our masterclass of this week and we deep dive. I get a chance to work with each of you in the group setting and kind of hear, what are your obstacles in your way with growing your business? Or what are some things that this brought up for you that you need to work on? I use some of my Tony skills and we just move you a little bit further down the road. Because that's my hope for you, is that I am adding value. I am supporting you in the ways that you need to be supported. And I am working with you at that level where you are able to change the world. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you have a truly blessed day. Take care.